All right, so we're back. Thank you so much for joining us today. You're welcome to Creative Recovery. And we've started the process already on the Zoom call, but we just came to do a little bit in here to kind of show people what we're doing, how we're supporting each other, and how we are creating what matters to us. And everyone is a creative. And over the next 4 weeks, we are going to have an opportunity to explore our creative side, to show up for ourselves daily. And showing up for yourself doesn't mean you create magic that first day, but rather you are able to create something small, build something. Because sometimes we think that we will film a wonderful video. So we pay the videographer, we get the makeup done, we get every single thing done. And on that day, you realize that you're spending more time than expected because you are not preparing. So, what we're doing with recovery is preparing you for the big battles ahead, for the big projects ahead, for the big things ahead, so that you are able to show up for yourself in a way that is true to who you are and create for the person that you are, not the person that you wish you are. So, we just did a creative question where we asked a simple question about how you create, or what is one project or one activity that you want to create that you haven't. And we talked about the fact that, thank you, Inda. We talked about the fact that when we are creating, we are exhausted, or we are fed with so much information that we don't know where to start from. So whenever there is a new idea, there is a new tra- trend, there's something new, we just run for it immediately, and then we are burnt out. So we have like a graveyard of unfinished projects. One thing I will say is, what are your unfinished projects? Record them. Yes, sometimes you think you are lazy, you think that you are unable to create because you just don't have the drive, you don't have the motivation. But sometimes you're struggling because you have lost connection and capacity. So what we're going to do over the next 4 weeks for this first phase is build that connection and capacity for you to be able to create on your own terms, whether you are alone or you join a community. And we're going to be looking at resources that we can use to do that. I say almost everybody, and I would like to hear from you people, as three creative wounds. The first one is the pressure to produce. As a business owner, as a church, as a creative, even if you are. So I think today we had a conversation, or this weekend we had a conversation where Jemima talked about the fact that she has produced a movie. So why does she have to go and dance on TikTok or go and create so much content to drive people to it? That there are better ways we can still act as professionals without losing the sense of who we are. People will still watch when we've created it. So that there's that pressure and constant demand to outperform the competition. People are comparing you with others, and you are also doing that comparison. So you've put a lot of pressure on yourself to produce. There's the fatigue of visibility. There's this emotional toll of being seen and judged. Most of us would love to create, but we are like, oh, everything is imperfect, so I can't create yet. I would wait till XYZ is done. And that kind of prevents us from actually doing anything at all. And there's a loss of passion. Now, this is something that I have experienced before. I have creative ideas, I am working on them behind the scenes, but that passion to go up there and share again, passion to actually do something that others will see, kind of prevents you from actually doing anything at all. So that loss of passion is not just about finding fulfillment in something new. It's about understanding that sometimes rather than just running, you need to take a step back, which is what creative recovery is going to do for us before you move forward. I say productivity starts with jaga jaga, but creativity comes from a place of rest. When you have a loss of passion, the pressure to produce, and the fatigue of visibility, what you have is a withdrawal syndrome where you yourself are not trusting yourself to produce anything. Not even talking about sharing, because sometimes we produce and we don't share yet, which is also fantastic. But most of us don't even produce at all in any way. All we're doing is consuming, consuming, consuming. But there are different types of people, and I think we will take a quiz later. I just want to ask those in the chat. Have you ever gone through this creativity grief? So there are creatives in grief. Have you ever looked at your social media, looked at your online presence, looked at the book you're working on, look at your passion project, and you are just like, this is not just working out? And we're going to be reading a book and working with a book called The Artist Way. And I want people to share a little bit before I talk about the artist way. So you can share in the chat directly. I'll go to both chats, or you can share. You can unmute yourself and share. Because I want us to, at the end of the day, when we look at these three things that we've talked about, we will need to tap them out. Most of us don't even want to admit that we are in grief when we look at our content. That the reason you've not posted that video is because the last one or the last 20 you posted, not even mosquitoes came on your page to look at it. It was just blank. And then we are grieving alone. What I want us to do is, first of all, let it out, the struggles we have as creatives, before we embrace something new. Be honest with ourselves where we are as creatives before we now try something new. Get that support. Create the industry we are in is very fast paced, and most people do not have the support that they need. So how do you get that support if you're not in a community of like-minded people? So I see Iti's and is raised, so we'll start with Iti. Thank God I don't have to start calling names. Yes, Iti.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So yeah, DK, I can definitely relate to this in regards to grieving a lost connection or
Mm-hmm.
freedom, because I currently feel like I'd already started creating an online persona or avatar that was me at a certain point in my life, but isn't me anymore.
Okay.
And you know, there's a disconnect really, and maybe like, yeah, sometimes I look at my content or looked at my content or maybe my personal brand or styling, and I felt
Yes.
like, yeah, that's not, that's not really me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there's a bit of that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I think what makes that even more pertinent at this point in time is that we don't even allow ourselves to evolve. We forget that we are changing. Our access to information is making us more open, and we are learning new things. So the person we were 3 years ago may not be the person we are, but there is still that common thread that is in us. So when we're talking about creativity, one thing I will always say is don't niche yourself, niche the services or the personas or the things that you do. Because first of all, when you create from within, and you are not dependent on other people's perspective, what happens is that you grow, you learn. So when I say don't look at vanity metrics, what this is what I mean. Do not let vanity metrics confuse you and prevent you from learning. Because if you only look at the vanity metrics and you don't look at the other things, what tends to happen is that we then isolate ourselves. We feel that other people are doing stuff that maybe we should do more. But you forget that most of these top creators pay for comments, they pay for likes, they pay for all these things. So their engagement is not true engagement. So what we are going to do with the way we are going to create over the next year, for those that stay along for the journey, is this. We're going to create messy first. We're going to create what I call jaga jaga. We're going to give ourselves our permission to do things in a way that we are not even comfortable with showing, but comfortable with ourselves. Now, this may not be content we share externally. This may be content we share internally. Then we're going to now observe, learn, and then improve. So we keep going when it comes to content and creating that online presence. We don't pause to reflect. So rather than pausing, what we do is we just stop. So we stop completely and we don't finish. So we then abandon that project. So when it comes time to now rebuilding that um persona or that brand, what happens is there's so much burnout, there's so much disappointment because what you were told was just create and people will come, just make it and people will come. And you realize that you have good things, you are saying fantastic things, but nobody is showing up. Nobody is showing up. So when it comes to embracing that aspect again, you don't want to do it because you've been hurt, you've been burnt, you've been disappointed by doing something fantastic. and then nobody listened to it. So sometimes when we do not allow ourselves or give ourselves permission to grieve the loss of that person that was in your 20s, that had a different mindset, that had a different career objective, that did not even understand what it is to work in the real world, that had just theory but not real life lived experience. Your lived experience transforms you and transforms the way you think. Allow that to be reflected in your content. So the reason I said we will start messy before we fix it up is it gives you an opportunity to create as a child. Most of us have lost that childish nature we had, the one where we embraced it, that we wrote in a way that was jaga jaga and we did not care what anybody said. We were just excited to write and write and write and do. And this kind of, if we don't go back to that, and connect with that side of our creativity, we will still be in the same circle, the hamster circle, just going round and round and round. Yes, E.T., your hand is raised.
Thank you. I just wanted to add that I think something else that kind of is part of, I think, a creative wound these days is almost like a fight or flight situation where you might feel like you need to create things perfectly. So I love what you're saying about giving yourself permission to just start messy and jaga jaga anyhow, because when you look at a lot of content online, it seems very carefully curated, perfect content, perfect camera, perfect sound, perfect script, and everything. And a lot of us might not necessarily have sat down to plan the content, or don't have the equipment, or don't know how to get that viral sensational type of video. So you just kind of freeze and you don't put anything out at all. And I think that is also one of the type of creative roots that people might be feeling these days.
True. 100%. It's true. Because when you see the content others create, you are like, when will I ever get to this level? And then the words, everything they say, they have the about the hooks, they have the angles, they have the zoom in, they have the zoom out, and you're like, I'm just learning to edit. And if I want to get somebody, no problem. Thank you, Messi. If I want to get somebody to do it for me, I have to pay and I don't have the resources. And I know that I can earn from this thing that I know how to do. But the truth is, you don't even need 10 million people. You just need the right people that will respond to the way you create. Like, I don't create a lot of time, but whenever I do, or wherever I find myself, I see certain people gravitate towards me because they love the message that I preach. That took me a while to be comfortable with. So give yourself permission to grow. And the reason I said that is you don't have to have a large crowd to get paid. You just have to be consistent. There was a day someone came into my DM and said, oh, they wanted me to review an app for them. And I'm like, how do you know I review things? Oh, I watched a couple of videos you did. I just did 3 videos talking about Airtable, talking about this, talking about that, and I abandoned it. And they dug it out. They were based in the US and we got on a call and I reviewed the app for them. And the man was like, oh, I love your perspective. You should be doing more reviews for people. I was shocked. So sometimes we don't realize that we just need to create it for people to say, people to see it. It may not be perfect, it may not be this, but it just takes that one person listening to what you're saying to connect with what you've done and then be part of the message that you are preaching. Sometimes we want it to be, oh, only 10 people liked it, only 100 people liked it. You're in a room with 100 people paying attention to what you're saying. How many people do you think can fill the room with 100 people? So creating is about understanding that you have the license to do and tell your story on your own terms. There's a way I talk about things that nobody else can. There's a way I use AI. Even if I teach you the way I use AI, me and AI tools, we go back and forth as in we are like this, but nobody else can when it comes to my own industry and about what I say. But when I've given myself permission to fail, I'm no longer afraid of failing. I've given myself permission to excel. So I'm no longer in competition with anybody, but rather I'm looking at myself and saying, how can I be the best version of myself? Initially, it wasn't so. When I did my first radio show, I was very nervous. I called everybody I know. You people have to be there. And then some people showed up and some people did not. So some creative wounds are people that you expected to ride and die for your work are not showing up at all for you. And then someone asked me one question, oh, that little branding thing you're doing, are you still doing it? And I was like, little. And the way the person said it, I'm like, okay, you're working in the financial sector, you're doing so well. Those words from people hurt us. So I want you to write down what are things that have been said about you as a creative, about your work. It doesn't even about your work, it doesn't even have to be videos you've created that have made you smile. What are things that have been said about your work, or what are the things that have happened about your creative process that you remember that hurt you? So it could be something that someone said or did to you. Someone just made a remark. You got your first hater. It could be the fact that you were trying to explain what you do to someone and the person turned their nose on it as if, what's this? And you're wondering, why so much hatred? Why can't you see what I see? Because when we start identifying the creative wounds, we are in a better position to win. You've tried, some people just tell you, oh, buy this course and you'll be the best virtual assistant. Or you want to do project management. How many of us in the chat, let me know in the chat, have bought courses, I've paid for programs, I've signed up, and then you realize that I know this thing already, or it's not what they said. They just told me to do it, and the moment I do it, I will get clients and I will never be broke. All of us have paid for services that have been overproduced. And when we start receiving those services, we are so disappointed. What I want us to do is create things that we will be proud of sharing. So even if nobody likes it, we are proud of what we did. Create your message based on your own intellectual property. So what creative recovery is doing is making you look back and saying, what are these negative things that are tying me down? But then what do I actually like and what do I want to share? So you share with us and then you'll be able to share with the world. Like I said, we will be able to look back at our videos and be objective. So there are some of us that can't receive feedback. When someone gives us feedback, it hurts our feelings. How do we prepare ourselves to receive feedback from people without it making us feel like we're the worst person on earth? And if it makes us feel like we're the worst creator on earth, how do we address that pain and go back to creating and not withdraw? Because most of us withdraw because we don't have community. There's sometimes I have gone into certain meetings and I have come out and I'm like, goodness, I just call Emma and she allows me to rant. So we have creative rants. We rant about everything going wrong and everything going right. I have my mastermind girls that I talk to. We talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. But we are giving ourselves permission, that permission to understand that me, I don't like feedback from certain people. And nobody is above blocking. We are hurting as creatives, but we want to act as if everything is okay. So the wound keeps going on. The disappointment, the lack of engagement, this creating a webinar or a workshop and nobody shows up, planning things and everybody just acts as if nothing. You've created this wonderful fitness program. You've even given it to people for free and they do nothing about it. That is disappointing. How do we move from disappointed, hurt, burnt out, frustrated creatives to creatives that are thriving in a world that is not perfect? It starts with you. It doesn't start with any other person. It starts with you and the way you see yourself and the way you this thing. So you're going to give yourself, you're going to write. I will move around a bit. That's just the way I think. You're going to give yourself permission to grieve. You're going to give yourself permission to look at your creative wounds and how they have impacted you, whether positive or negative. You're going to give yourself that permission because you need it. You need that permission because some of us have not permitted ourselves to even express anything at all. We are just holding on to whatever we have and trying our best to seem perfect. Some of us have said we've resigned from jobs. We've thought that once, since we are passionate about what we are doing, it will just work out. But when passion meets desperation, everything else doesn't make sense. So you've invested in the best logo, website, you've done every single thing. You've created your content and then you are not gaining what you want from it. But you've spent your time. How do you give yourself permission to deal with that loss of passion? How do you give yourself permission to grieve? So, I said I was going to give us time to pause and reflect. And please be doing these activities no matter where you are. You could think about it. But as a creative, as a business owner that the business has failed, as somebody that has invested thousands and millions of pounds and naira, yes, we've invested, and then it did not work out. It's your time to reflect. Where did you lose your creativity? Where did you lose your creativity? And the response to that reveals something unique. It reveals your path to recovery. Because most of us will not even accept that we've lost our creativity at one point in time or the other. I have been creating, but I have lost the passion to teach for a while. I was like, this is the first time I am doing my backdrop again. I've just been teaching without videos. I just come with the slides. There was a time where when I just started 2016, I was so passionate and ready to do anything. COVID for some people was when they lost their creativity, when they felt the whole world was shutting down. Because most of us will say it's like 2019 was last year. Now it's 2025. So some of us are in that loop where we've not given ourselves the permission to grieve that loss that COVID had on us, the impact it had on our mindset, the impact it had on our creativity. There are some of us, and I will whisper this because this should not be said in public, that lost our creativity in childhood. You were different. You were not like every other person. You were someone that just liked building or doing things, and that wasn't the norm. They tried to flog you for every little thing that you did. Some of us lost our creativity as children. We lost our creativity because we were introverts and everybody was trying to make us an extrovert. So that's my story. As a child, I did not like maths. Pythagoras theorem was like an horror movie to me. I just couldn't see fractions and understand it. And I wasn't lazy. So then there was a force to, oh, you must be this way, you must be this way. In fact, they just said, you're going to the arts class and everybody else in your family is in sciences. Then you are in the arts class. As in, nobody even considered science for me. Pythagoras theorem, periodic table, all those things were this thing. Now, those words and those actions of people saying, oh, why are you not like the others, made me not see myself as a creative. I finally started seeing myself as a creative in 2014 when I started working based on my strengths. I read the book The Strength Finder and I started working based on who I was, not who I wish I was. So I have told you where I lost my creativity. I lost my creativity by trying to be an extrovert. I lost my creativity in childhood, but that's not the end of the story. So I'll give you a couple of minutes. Let me know if you want more time to think about this question. Where did you lose your creativity? For those just joining, welcome. Thank you so much for joining today. Today is about creative recovery, and we've already started, but you'll be able to watch the replay for this. It's going to be 4 weeks of this, 4 Mondays, and we'll decide if we are going to let people that are not members of the community continue this process. So that is something that we're yet to decide. But creative recovery is something that we all need. It's something that everybody needs. We identified a couple of things. Number one, we are exhausted. We have been tried, we get information left, right, center. Some of us are dealing with creative issues because of the way we see creative people. Some people see creatives as only people that sing. I used to think I wasn't creative because I could not sing. I don't know how to sing because I couldn't write the way others write, because I couldn't do so many things. But in 2016, I was struggling to write, so I had to see an educational psychologist. And then, no, in 2014, sorry. And then she told me something wonderful. She told me that, wow, Your vocal skills are your best skills. You should use them more. And I was like, really? She said, yes. The way you assimilate information and communicate is something you should improve. So rather than working on my weaknesses, I started working on my strengths. And so it's been 10 years on this journey of finding my creative side and embracing it fully. Remember, the response to this question shouldn't be what you want to impress me. It should be where you are currently and what you remember about losing your creativity. And if anybody cares to share in the chat, Oyinda, Emmanuel, ET has been sharing, so I will call the name, or the others that just joined. When do you think you lost your creativity, or have you ever lost your creativity? That's a critical question that you must answer. So I'm going to go to the um, other streaming platform to see if anyone is responding. And then, Linda, please monitor the um, YouTube channel or whichever one people are on so that we can see if people have questions. So, hi guys, I know I'm talking from two different platforms, and let's see if you have questions about this. Oh, I wasn't sharing my slides here. Emma been, I'm sorry about that. So keep quiet for like a minute to let you ponder on that question, and then we will proceed. Okay, so oh, we've got a message. Let me see. Okay, loss of creativity has come from feeling like I have a brand to upkeep. Good, becoming competitive and feeling like my output always has to show my professional side or why I am the best, and the feeling of being perceived by others suddenly caged me. Thank you for your vulnerability and honesty. And I think that it's something that has to be said. If we understand where we've lost it, we can now get back on track, create our own path. Because the truth is, we are in a very competitive world, and capitalism doesn't help us. You see all the brand trips, you see brands, they're paying the same people over and over again. And people keep saying, oh, I earn six figures, this. There's always this debate. And in capitalist economy, creativity is not something that is um creativity has been productized. So our lives, if we want to show up, we have to productize our lives to suit people's taste. And sometimes that leaves a bad taste in our mouth. So it's always great to be honest about where we think we lost our creativity, because that's our path. And then when it comes to creating, this is what I will say. Most people think about there is the why and the how trap, and they forget that they focus so much on the how and they forget why they started. So most creators obsess over techniques, tools, tactics. They focus on how to create without addressing the deeper questions. And I will say this: I bought my first camera in 2016, and my plan was to start a YouTube channel. I built a website, I bought logos, I did every single thing. I always tell people the logo is the last thing you make. If you work with me, I always tell you don't start with your website and logo. You will end with those. And I did not use it for a long time. The camera still sits here. I shoot on my iPhone most of the time. Once in a while, I shoot on that camera. What I'm trying to say is don't focus on the tools. The tools are important. You get better when you use tools. The tools can improve what you've done, but if you've lost the why aspect of what you do, then you are not going to be able to create from your heart, especially, most especially, the people that are drawn to the way I create and what we do. So we've got more questions. So we are going to talk about your foundation as a creative. And without answers to these questions, having the best techniques will not save you. Now, you don't have to answer these questions now. You can answer them in more details later, but you can take a screenshot and look at this question. Why do you create? Why do you do what you do? Why do you want to be seen, and why does this matter to me? These are questions that are so simple. And for those that are just listening to me for the first time, I will say this. The things I recommend are simple. They are not flamboyant. If you want something flashy, something flamboyant, something that is a quick fix, then I would also, I can signpost you to people that I know that work in that way. But I believe in going back before going forward. I believe in understanding yourself and creating for the person you are, not the person you wish you were. I believe in improving yourself and then sharing yourself with the world. So if I want you to be seen, I also want to be seen. So why do I create? I create because I have a story to tell. I create because I love talking about certain things, productivity and creativity, and then content creation. These are things that I am always passionate about talking about. I create because I struggled when I started this journey in 2011, 2012, and I did not have a support system around me. Most of the content then were good, but they were not great. Most of the figure was on money, 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 money. I want to be wealthy. I want to have a life that um, gives back to society. I want a situation. My definition of wealth is having enough money so I don't have to think and calculate and manage. But I am still a steadfast creative, steadfast with the resources I have. I can contribute to certain things. I can say, okay, these people don't have laptops and they want to be virtual assistants. I can fund something like that. To me, that is wealth. I want to be seen because I believe that more people need to learn how to be steadfast creative. They need to learn how to be productive. We are not taught how to be productive. We are only shouted at our when we are not productive, scolded, and then everybody expects us to just understand what it is to manage the person that we are. So that's why I create. Why does this matter to me? Because everybody needs support. Everybody needs someone that they can slow down with. Everybody needs someone they can be vulnerable with. And I am that person. So you see, I have answered those questions in my own way. Answer it your way. I prefer talking to typing. So I would just rather talk about it. So what I can do is I'll record on one of these things in my notes app with ChatGPT or in my Google Doc so I can go back and reflect on what I am saying. Do it your way, but don't forget to answer the why versus how question. How will come, how can be outsourced, but you can't outsource your personal development to anybody. You can't outsource your why. So this is not a question for you to tell your PA to answer. This is a question that you even answer before you get your PA to work on anything for you. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. Sometimes we say, oh, I don't have money. I don't have this, I don't have that. But our people are not paying me yet when they look at my content. What I want you to understand is the creative culture we have around here is this. We laugh here, we rant here, we try again. We don't cuddle, but we create from truth, not trends. We understand a couple of things. The first thing we understand is attention is currency. So when somebody watches your videos, looks at your post or something, or engages with your content in one way or the other, they've paid you with attention. Attention is currency. That's why social media companies and everybody is trying to keep you on the app. Attention is currency. So that's why people want to listen to what you say, read what you've written, engage with what you've done, eat your food. They've paid attention to you, and that is the highest currency you can get apart from money, because that attention can lead to more things later. When we show up fully. We don't show up, oh, what if it works? Maybe, maybe. No, that's not the attitude I want you to come with. I want you to come with a can do attitude, that you show up fully or you don't show up at all. I don't understand everything. You do not understand everything, but we are participating in this together. So don't come saying, I don't even know what goal I want to achieve. I don't even know this. Show up fully. Listen to understand. Don't listen to respond. Listen to hear and learn. Listen to others and then do the best you can. Your 100% is your 100%. So don't try and be like others when you show up. Show up for yourself. Accountability is love, yeah. If you repeatedly ghost us and you don't show up, we'll release you from the program. No shame, just respect. We want you to be accountable for your time. We want you to let us know if you're not going to make a session. We want you to understand that we are all in this together, but we want a situation where you are doing what you need to do. You are building an agency of one. Yes, that's something you will get me saying over and over again. You're building an agency of one. You are not here to vibe, you are here to build your agency. You are not here for just another course or another workshop. If you want to build your agency, I am your guide and we are going to work together. But it actually takes you doing the work. I could give you all the materials, but if you don't do the work consistently, there is no growth. Your energy, your attention, there are certain things that you can control. You can't control how long this session is going to be because I think we still have 1 more hour. You can't control my slides. You can't control if I'm a boring person or I'm an exciting person. You can't control that. What you can control is you. Show up, understand that you are paying with attention for now. Understand that you are going to be accountable to yourself and accountable to the group, and you are the builder. And that's what I want. I think I'm going to pass this reflective questions. So we're going to do something called the finishers framework. And I don't know if Emmanuel can share the link in the chat so that everybody can take the quiz. I love creating quizzes. Since I found out how to do it, I created this one recently. And I want you to take the quiz because we're streaming on YouTube. I won't be able to play music for the next few minutes. But Emmanuel, Gloria, one of you should please share the link in the chat so that others can take the quiz. I'll appreciate if that is done.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you very much. So this is a quiz that is going to walk with you for the rest of this journey. There are going to be a couple of them we take. Some people have taken the procrastination one. Fantastic. We're still going to work with that to build your profile to help you to do what you need to do. But this is different. This is about how you finish what you start. This is going to be looking at your past goal patterns and a couple of things. It's called the finishers framework. The link is in the chat. And once you are in, let me know. Oinda, I think I'm going to need you to share the link on Facebook and on YouTube, please. Thank you.
Should we do the quiz now?
Yes, please. Yes, please do the quiz now so we can discuss it. The link is in the chat for those wondering. So please do the quiz now. And those on other platforms, let me know if you don't have the quiz link yet. I'm also going to put it in the chat for the on Luma. Luma is the app that we use. I apologize to everyone. It seems the time that was written was 7 to 8, but it's actually 7 to 9. So if you choose to leave after this, I will understand. But then we'll take a after the quiz, we'll take a 5 minute stretch break because I know some people may need to stretch and stuff like that. So once you're done with your quiz, you can take your little break, and I may stop streaming so that we can play some music while we take this short break. Thank you.
Okay, so we're back at 8 p.m., right?
Yes, we're back at 8 p.m. Correct. Thank you for that. We're back at 8 p.m. But please take a quiz when we come back. 1 second. Let's see. For those on this platform, oh, thank you very much. I've posted the link to on the YouTube ones, but I'm not sure if others have seen the link. So if you want to take the quiz, um, and you're watching from, let me see where you're watching from. Yes, thank goodness, it's YouTube. So you have the link now. So we're going to end this stream and then we'll come back later.